Erich Korngold wrote his Violanta in one of the many golden eras of Vienna's development. We're talking about a time when Max Reinhardt is in full action, when Sigmund Freud, the secessionist movement, Gustav Klimt, Gustav Mahler, and many, many other important protagonists of their various cultural fields are active in Vienna and create an extremely inspiring environment for a young, very young Erich Korngold. Let's remember that his second opera, Violanta, Opus 8, was written just after Der Ring des Polykrates when he was mere 17 years old. Let's not forget either that his biggest success as an opera composer happened when he was only 23 years old with Die Tote Stadt. So that's a time when really in Vienna we live a period of extreme flourishing of the arts, of the musical life, of the opera itself. Korngold's stylistic inheritance definitely stems back to all the way to Wagner and to all the operas that he was able to listen to at the beginning of the century. We're talking about Richard Strauss being particularly successful in that period. We're talking also about his teacher Zemlinsky. We're talking about an Arnold Schönberg, whom he was very interested in taking lessons with, even though he never really went all that way. We see and we hear in this Violanta a huge orchestration which was part of the time, a sign of the times, but he always remained post-romantic and always remained very close to a communication with the audience to be understood, digestible, so to speak, by an audience of his time. And I believe very strongly that it's definitely also a music that can be understood and is very close to our times as well. It was the same Max Reinhardt who invited Korngold to work with him on his first movie experiences. We're talking about a first collaboration in 1934, which then led to Korngold escaping the Nazi regime and finally settling in Hollywood and earning his first Oscars in 1938, just a few years after beginning to work in this genre. 2 Oscars for 2 movies, Robin Hood, for example, right? It's an incredible achievement and an incredible success story of somebody who had to leave his home country and find a completely new sphere of work and life. The role of an opera house, and here we're talking about Torino being the only opera house in the city, but also in the region, is a role that needs to offer the audience a wide variety of repertoire. Also, but not only, the most popular titles, especially of the Italian repertoire of the late 19th century and early 20th century, but we have 425 years of history, of titles, of styles, of different musical languages, of different ways of telling stories that of course have changed over these centuries. To put on an opera like Violanta, I believe extremely important to enrich our society, to show what other titles were created in a time when Puccini was active, but also to look towards the 20th and, in our case, the 21st century. What other stories are out there that we might still want to explore, we might still want to put to music even? Of course, we hope to reach an audience and to create a relationship with an audience that will trust us to just simply come to the opera with an open mind, with an open heart, curious about whatever we put on, because I really believe that our program this year and in the coming years will be just that, worth getting to know. Thanks to OperaVision, we're in a wonderful position to propose this title, in particular to an audience not only in Torino but worldwide, and I'm particularly grateful for this opportunity which OperaVision offers to an audience to get to know something that goes beyond the things that are sort of secure box office sellers. I personally watch things on OperaVision because it helps me to get to know an opera that I might not have the chance to physically get to in time. We live in busy times. We cannot travel all over the world, and we're grateful that we, in our part, can take part in contributing to OperaVision and the big catalogue that they're offering. I strongly believe that it's our role as artistic directors operating in this time to really explore the vast repertoire that we've been left with. It is our cultural heritage that goes far beyond the treasures of Verdi, Puccini, Rossini, not wanting to take away from their achievements, obviously, but it goes far beyond that and can tell us a lot about the time the operas have been written in, the times, the musical styles, the developments of society. And to put on an opera like Korngold's Violanta and other operas of that time, whether we go towards Entartete Kunst and look at all those wonderful artists that have been suppressed and oppressed by a system that didn't allow them to create, or whether we continue down the road and look further into the 20th century, this is all valid operatic repertoire that needs to be explored, needs to be proposed to an audience, needs to go through the hands and minds of very capable conductors and directors to find languages that help us understand and connect with those times. They're all times that made us possible. Let's not forget that.